Adam Salazar from the Choctaw Nation is again our guest speaker. On this day before St. Patrick's Day, he will be sharing about the Choctaw gift to the Irish and the bond it created. Welcome back, Adam. Don't forget to turn on your thing.
Hello, everyone. My name is Adam Salazar. I'm with the Choctaw Nation Historic Preservation Department. We're housed at the Choctaw Cultural Center in Durant, Oklahoma. I'm part of the Engage and Outreach program. So what I do, I go out to like churches or community centers and schools, and I give presentations over Choctaw culture and history. So today, I'm here to speak a little bit about the Choctaw gift, give y'all a little information, the Choctaw gift to the Irish. So I think this is important because most history books don't talk too much about the Irish famine or the Native American treaties. So I'm here to share a little bit of information. So in 1847, over 175 years ago, the Choctaw people donated money to the Irish people who were suffering from a potato famine. It's because of this donation that a friendship and a bond was formed. Even though we were separated by thousands of miles and on different sides of the Atlantic Ocean, we endured similar struggles and misfortunes. Here's a few topics I'm going to be going over. It is the Ireland background, the Choctaw background, the Choctaw Treaty of Dancing Rabbit Creek, the potato famine itself, a meeting in Scullyville, paying it forward, and the Choctaw and Irish scholarship, and some monuments. Before the potato famine, Irish people were already living in harsh conditions. Since the conquest of the island in 15 and 1600s, Ireland has been ruled by Britain. Without getting too deep into Ireland history, in 1798, some Irishmen felt compelled to push back and rebel. This rebellion lasted around 5 months, but the deaths ran into the tens of thousands. The political aftermath of this was the most life-changing part of it all. The British government was forced to tighten its grip, and under the Act of Union in 1801, Ireland was brought fully under British rule. Most of Ireland's landmass belonged to a small group of mainly Protestant landowners who were loyal to the United Kingdom. They supplied members of the parliament, and because of this, they somewhat acted as the local authorities. They forced harsh criminal laws on most Irish people. The laws were meant to force Catholics to convert to Protestantism and weaken native Irish people, erasing much of Ireland's culture. The Irish Catholics at the time were treated with prejudice and thought to be the lowest of the low. Decades later, in the 1830s and 1840s, the Industrial Revolution was steady in Britain and would later spread into the rest of the world. Advanced farming techniques and population growth pushed many to leave the countryside and make new lives in the cities. Since farming in Ireland was not updated, it forced millions of resident farmers and landless laborers to work the fields. The resident farmers would rent small farms from the land-owning elite, while the landless laborers would work for no wages, but instead for the permission to occupy a rough piece of land to live. Ireland's agriculture was dangerously uncertain. Most of their food production, the grain and livestock, was exported to Britain and didn't leave a lot of available farmland for Ireland. Tenant farmers and laborers used what little space they had to grow potatoes. So although both farmers and laborers had no money, they had one thing they could rely on, which was the heavily nutritious potato. So while Ireland was going through their misfortunes, the Choctaws were dealing with difficulties as well. After European contact, Choctaws began relying heavily on European-made goods. Unfortunately, this reliance on their goods also led to debt. Choctaws began entering treaties with the United States that consisted of land cessions to pay these debts. From 1786 to 1830, the Choctaw people signed 9 treaties with the United States. These treaties were said to bring peace and friendship between the two nations, but they always heavily favored the United States and shortchanged the Native people. The Treaty of Hopewell was the first, and it is an important treaty because it identified our tribe as a nation, but it came at a cost. Although we were granted protection from outsiders, land boundaries were created. With each treaty signed, Choctaw homeland became smaller and smaller, impacting our traditional ways of life. The Treaty of Dancing Rabbit Creek was the last treaty to be signed and would ultimately start the Trail of Tears, or the Trail of Tears of Death, coined by a Choctaw chief. The Choctaw people were forced to sign the treaty when threatened by the United States that they would break existing treaties and commit genocide against them. Forced removals from Mississippi to Indian Territory, present-day Oklahoma, began in 1830. Approximately 15,000 Choctaw people traveled the trail, mostly on foot. Without sufficient supplies promised by the U.S. government, they faced hunger, freezing temperatures, and disease. Around 4,000 Choctaws died, which was a quarter of the people. The Treaty of Dancing Rabbit Creek became the largest land cession treaty signed to date by the U.S. government and was the first removal treaty put into effect under the Indian Removal Act. The potato famine, which was the cause of the gift, it was also known as the Great Famine, was a starvation period that lasted 7 years, from 1845 to 1852. The potato was a staple food of the poor in Ireland, and almost a third of Ireland's population relied on the potato as its primary source. The ultimate cause of the famine was a destructive fungus causing potato blight. This disease was spread rapidly throughout Ireland. During the first year of the famine, the infection ruined 1/2 of the potato crops and about three-quarters of the crops the following years. Britain helped import corn into Ireland, but the corn was poorly distributed and offered insufficient nutrition. Throughout the entire famine, the British continued to export Ireland's grain and livestock. Before it ended, roughly 1 million Irish people died from starvation or related causes, and at least another million were forced to leave their homeland as refugees. Since the famine was caused by blight, some thought it was God's will and that the famine was not an accident, so a lot of people just sat around and watched them suffer. The Quakers, which is a Christian society of France, had a profound impact. There were roughly 3,000 Quakers that took an active role in setting up soup kitchens across Ireland. Back in the United States, while this was going on, a meeting was held in Scullyville, Oklahoma. Scullyville is the home of the first Choctaw agency in the West and was established with the U.S. agent Major W. Armstrong. There were 3 districts in the Choctaw Nation, with Scullyville being the capital. Originally, the town was the place where annuity payments was collected, and the Choctaw word for money is Scully, so hence the name Scullyville. On March 23rd, 1847, the meeting was held, and in attendance were tribal members, agency officials, missionaries, and traders. U.S. agent Major Armstrong of the Choctaw Nation took the floor to speak and told everyone about the event taking place on the far side of the Atlantic and of no obvious interest to the Choctaw people, the Great Famine in Ireland. After learning of the Irish famine, Choctaw families went home to discuss it, and with great empathy, they came up with $170 for the relief of the Irish poor. Some historians, they defer to the exact amount, but the specific amount is not what matters. Again, I'd like to say that The donation came 14 years after the just walking the Trail of Tears. Paying it forward, fast forward today, in 2020, the COVID-19 pandemic caused disruptions around the world. The death toll was particularly severe in the Navajo and Hopi nations. The Navajo and Hopi volunteers started an online fundraising campaign for help on their reservations. Without hesitation, the Irish people responded with generosity and compassion. The Irish raised over $2 million for the two nations so they could protect themselves with clean water, food, and health supplies. The picture on the left is the Prime Minister of Ireland with the chief of Choctaw Nation. These are a few quotes that I found. If I can read it to you. The chief said in a statement that the tribe was gratified and perhaps not all surprised to learn of the assistance of our special friends, the Irish, that they were given to the Navajo and Hopi nations. The picture on the right is the picture of the president of Ireland. I found this quote in the book, and it just stuck out to me. He says, the most vulnerable people on our fragile planet require us to stand in solidarity with them and to speak in unity for a better and more secure world. They deserve no less. Until this day, the Choctaw Nation of Oklahoma and the Republic of Ireland continue to prosper separately and together as allies. In 2018, the Choctaw Ireland Scholarship was announced, a program paid by the Republic of Ireland for a Choctaw student. The Choctaw Ireland Scholarship, to be eligible, you must be a member of the Choctaw Nation of Oklahoma. You must be interested in a one-year taught master's degree, be accepted into the University of College Cork in Ireland, interested in a degree from the College of Arts, Celtic Studies, and Social Studies at UCC, and you must have a valid passport. I just think that's a lovely picture of the building. That's a beautiful picture. Here's a picture of a few of the previous attendees. With the acceptance of the 2024 recipients, the Choctaw Ireland Scholarship Program will have allowed 10 students across the higher education access to higher education and a life-changing experience since it was founded. Again, in most history books, the Irish potato famine and Native American treaties doesn't get much attention. Choctaw people and Irish people endured similar struggles such as colonization and forced removal off homelands. Our ancient tongues almost became extinct, and both were made to feel inferior. We were victims of a conquest that led to loss of property, culture, and countless lives. But on a more positive note, both remain resilient in the face of all this. Today, there are a few beautiful sculptures honoring the relationship between the Choctaw Nation and the people of Ireland. This is on the cover of the program right here. So this is Kindred Spirits. It's sculpted by Alex Pentek and is in Middleton, County Cork, Ireland. Pentek refers to the shape of a food bowl to symbolize the famine, the Irish famine, and also in Choctaw tradition, especially the tribe's belief in feeding and giving. It's 9 eagle feathers standing about 20 feet tall, stainless steel, and the sculpture was dedicated in 2017. The gift, this is actually inside the Choctaw Cultural Center. It's a sculpture by Brandon O'Neill. It celebrates the 1847 donation to the Irish people. The elderly woman symbolizing Choctaw matriarchal society, and the man embracing her in support and protection reach out a hand of friendship to the Irish, while the eating bowl provides food and nourishment. Eternal Hearts, this one's at our state capitol in Tuscaloosa, Oklahoma. This was put up and revealed this last 2024, this year in August at the Labor Day Festival. But the sculpture was jointly funded by the government of Ireland and then the Choctaw Nation and was built on the Capitol grounds in Tuskahoma. It's 8 feet tall, combines the Celtic Trinity shape and intertwined with the heart, and is specifically placed facing toward Ireland. It is a Celtic knot work style, said the artist, and it has a Trinity and incorporates a heart in it. It has no beginning and end, and that's where we get the eternal heart. That's all I have right now. I appreciate y'all allowing me to come here and speak. I look forward to hanging out afterwards. So if y'all have any questions, I'll be here and to hang out with y'all. Thank y'all for allowing me to come and speak with y'all. So I'll be here, and thank y'all again.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.